Good.
How you feeling ahead of this week?
Yeah, good. It's been obviously a busy time for myself. Back involved with club football at Nottingham Forest, but yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back.
You're speaking to Scott there. How's he? You've had first.
Getting sick of seeing him. Sick of seeing him actually. You know, usually it's get-togethers when we meet up, but now it's been obviously building a closer relationship with Scott. But yeah, no, it's been different. Nice to be back involved in club football. Not been in it for a little while now, so it's just balancing and managing the two positions at the minute.
The fact that Steve, as the head coach, has been concentrating solely on this, maybe it's been nice for you to slightly be distracted ahead of this week, which obviously goes without saying is enormous.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's been my sole focus, for the last period of time. It's just been the national team and preparing for the international games. So it has been different. Obviously, not being able to, do as much with the gaffer. Obviously, a bit of focus on the club side as well. But it's a nice distraction in a way now to get the head back on Scotland duty and obviously the big game that we've been waiting for such a long time for.
If we could start maybe talking about the COVID situation. Obviously, there's mixed reports coming out of Serbia and Italy as well.
Yeah.
How does it affect your preparation 3 or 4 days out when you don't really know what kind of team you're going to be facing on Thursday night?
It's not going to affect too much. Obviously, they've got a style of play and the formation and the way they play. So we're going to prepare for their strongest team. Whatever happens in the time frame between now and the game is another matter. There's obviously issues that are ongoing, but we're just going to prepare for the strongest team. We've seen in the last couple of camps we've had, particularly the Czech game when there was a lot of issues going on, that things can change pretty quickly. Both camps. Who knows in that period of time what might change. So we're prepared for the strongest team, and obviously the situation will be monitored. But until we get the team sheets, any information closer to the time, we'll prepare for a full strength Serbian team.
By the same token, are you as a camp doing anything differently or more focused in order to try and avoid the issues that you encountered last month?
No, it's the same. There was obviously the issues that we did have, and how it was all handled was first class from within the camp. Obviously, these situations do occur and are going to keep occurring, I'm sure, as we go on, both at club level and international football as well. But how we, it was controlled and how we went about things, and the way the sports science and medical dealt with all the situations, all the protocols that are in place are first class. We're going to do all we can, obviously, to limit any exposure. Everything's been great in terms of communication and apps that we've got, and the eating arrangements, the hotel arrangements, everything we can to make sure that we're at no risk, both as a staff and the team itself, to have a full strength team and squad for us going into the game as well.
I appreciate not all the players are here yet, but in terms of injuries and whatnot, is it fair to say Ryan Fraser will be out, and are there any other issues?
Ryan and Grant Hanley at the moment are struggling, so it's disappointing. Obviously, Grant's missed a little bit of football, and unfortunately he's not going to be with us, and Ryan as well, who performed really well in the last camp. So that's that is a blow, but we've got strength in depth. We've obviously got bigger numbers than usual in the squad, and we feel that we've got a squad capable of competing well and at our strongest in the Serbian game, going into the two Nations League games after. And what's been obviously pleasing in the last couple of camps is, despite the issues and the injuries and the COVID situation, the lads that stepped up were first class, and that's going to be the same going into all of these games as well. If there was to be an issue, we've got players now that have stepped in and stepped up to the plate.
If those two are the only ones that are missing, how would you rate the strength of the squad for what is obviously an enormous occasion?
Yeah, still very strong. Obviously, we're going into this game now. There's players that have played a lot more games, so getting up to a bit more match speed. We went into that last couple of camps and still had that whole issue with, you know, pre-seasons and getting up to match tempo. But by now, lads have played a lot of games. The squad is still strong. Obviously, I've not been in a squad as yet with Grant anyway, so he's not been a part of it for a little while. Still a shame that he's missing out, but it's still a squad more than capable of getting a result, that's for sure. And obviously the motivation and the prize at the end of it is obviously hopefully going to take us up to another level of performance.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be required, isn't it? Because they're a good side, and yet so are Scotland, given the momentum that you've built up, that they're on an undefeated match.
Yeah, we're on a decent run. A lot of clean sheets involved in it. Some pleasing performances, and again, go back to the fact that players that have been on the fringes of it and not even been in squads that have stepped in and done really well when they've come into the squad. So that's obviously pleasing to see. And going into this next group of games that we've got coming up is, puts us in hopefully a strong position to get some positive results.
So you've got no doubt at all that this squad can...
Oh, for sure, yeah. No doubt at all. No doubt at all. The prize at the end of it is, you hope as a player going into these games, it's not a once in a lifetime, but it might be. So we can't state clearly enough that these moments don't come around too often in your career. So it's important that the lads that do step onto the pitch, grasp it with both hands and, leave the pitch with no regrets.
Ryan looked as if he formed a good partnership up top with Lyndon. Is that now a challenge set out to the rest of the forward-thinking players in the squad, that there maybe is a spot up there for them to go for?
There's always spots available. Whoever steps up, there's always, potential. You want to be asking the manager and obviously the coaching staff questions. If you've not been in the team and not been in the squad, when you do step into that situation, you want to step up to the mark. And Ryan was brilliant, and that was with a lack of game time as well. Obviously, it was a late move into into Newcastle, so he came into that camp with not many minutes under his belt, but played really well. But at the same token, whoever steps in now and takes that shirt couldn't be stepping into a bigger game, that's for sure.
You're more than confident that with the options you've got at your disposal that you've got more than enough quality to fill that?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt, obviously Ryan stepped up in the last camp. It's up to whoever steps up in this camp to hopefully grasp it with both hands and help us to get a positive result.
Stephen, the national team, and I appreciate this is a bit of history here, the national team has had a history of falling at the final hurdle over the last 20 years or so. Do you feel that the penalty shootout win in particular maybe was a tipping point? You talk about grasping the occasion and grasping the moment. For them to go and score 5 penalties in a pressure situation, do you think that there mentally maybe something has clicked there, that this bunch of players thinks, do you know what, we can actually grasp and seize the moment?
I think so. I think every camp in the last few I've been involved in, there seems to be a progression, everyone, the confidence, the togetherness, the excitement to be in the camp, almost feels like it's getting to that. I think the manager sort of wanted to get a bit of that club type of feel into the international setup, and that's what I felt as a player myself at international level. You want to come away and you want it to feel more of a club than a group of players that are chucked together and not necessarily always looking forward to it. But the feel has been good. I think the players are enjoying meeting up, every single camp, and that's just progressed, and it's no surprise then when that happens, you start getting positive results and the momentum that we're on now. But it was a big moment. That penalty shootout was a big moment, but I was actually surprised how calm I felt personally when it was going on. There was a calmness in going round and seeing who's going to be the takers. Obviously, we've done our work on the training ground as well, in the build up to that and prepared for all situations. And I don't know how the players, but I felt pretty calm and controlled, and obviously the lads were as well, because they took five great penalties.
Do you think it's a change in mentality, not just within the squad, but externally as well? There does seem to be a better feeling about what Scotland can do after those 3 results.
I think so, and I think I think at the start it took a little while to get going. There was a few difficult results and maybe not the feeling of excitement meeting up, which can happen sometimes in national teams. I spoke to many national players as a player and a coach in various coaching roles at clubs that I've been at, and not always an enjoyment in going away, but genuinely feel that now. Feel like the lads are looking forward to seeing each other. More of a willingness to meet up and come up every single camp, and I think when you get that, you've got a chance of success if the lads enjoy spending time together. It's been a pretty, despite 1 or 2 injuries and the COVID situation, it's been quite a settled squad for quite a while now, and I think that can only help in enhancing that togetherness in the squad, and it seems to be in a good place at the minute.
There's only a couple of days worth of build-up for this one in particular. How do you keep them motivated but also mentally stimulated ahead of what is such a huge game?
I think the motivation bit of it's easy. I think as the camps have gone on, we're getting closer and closer to obviously the playoff game, which was first, and now the final. The motivation bit is the easiest part. The difficult bit is probably doing enough quality sessions, because especially the players that have played yesterday. You're talking about a 2-day recovery period in your post-game preparation. So a lot's been done on video. All of that stuff prepared. That's almost the bit that goes on in between the camps, is the preparation, getting the information sent out to players, the video meetings, the little individual bits of information that you can give. But the motivation is the one that, anyone coming into camp that's not motivated to get a result, not only in the first game, but the Nations League campaign as well after that, you shouldn't be playing, to be honest. If you need motivation to go into a game like this with what's on offer and what's at stake, then there's something really, really not right.
How much are you looking forward to working with Lee Griffiths this week, and does he bring something different that you don't already have in the squad? Really
looking forward to it. He's obviously, a player that's been, subject quite a lot in the press conferences that I've done and the manager's done, and just seeing little glimpses this morning, because he wanted to come in this morning. Wanted to take part in the training session this morning, which was great to hear yesterday, because a lot of the players that were involved yesterday are going to meet up slightly later, but he made it known that he wanted to get in early, wanted to train in the session, which was a smaller group, but you see glimpses, you see it all the time with Lee, those moments of quality that might be needed. The finish against Aberdeen took my breath away, the shift and the finish into the top corner, and that's what he offers. That's what I've seen today. That's the quality that he has, which is never been in doubt. It's just about that consistency and amount of minutes that he's played and getting back up to match speed. But yeah, the quality's there, and it was a pleasure to see some of his touches and finishes this morning.
Really promising to see that eagerness that he's got to, if he was given the option not to train this morning, the fact that he was willing to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously delighted to hear that yesterday, and the way he's trained this morning is, again, those moments of quality that sets him apart. He's got the ability to do it. It's just doing it over a sustained period of time, and if he's needed in these next 3 games coming up, I'm sure he'll deliver when called upon.
Steven, you mentioned earlier on the players that kind of late call-ups came into the squad last time and went into the team and did well, and you were missing some, before that, earlier in the camp, you're missing some big players, guys that would probably start. Is this going to be maybe a tough week for you as a management team, just to work out who is going to play? There's a lot going to be tough conversations and decisions to be made.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Obviously, it's the biggest game in years, so there's going to be some tough decisions. But it's got to be the right team for the game. The best team to fit the way we want to play, to fit the opposition we're playing against, to nullify their strengths and hopefully enhance our own. So yeah, it's got to be the right blend, the right team, and ultimately, hopefully, that'll be the one that gets the job done. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.